Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Hangout show. Every time I go to say that, I'm almost saying the Hangover show because a couple of my clients were like teasing me, saying they're waiting for me to say the Hangover.
Oh, if only.
Instead of the Hangout. So today on the show, we've got my Mastermind Peers. I'm so excited to bring them to you, Laura and Rebecca. So yeah, basically we first met in person. It was like the first. Hi Sonia, there's another one of our Mastermind Peers they're watching. So we first met in person on, when was it? Beginning of October, obviously, wasn't it? It was like the first Friday.
Yeah. Although I'm still virtual, I haven't actually met you yet. We haven't met properly yet.
Oh yeah. That's quite funny, actually, that you say that. I didn't even realize you was there virtually, which goes to show, doesn't it? Like sometimes, what was the reason that you couldn't come virtually?
Oh, because the baby. So I've got a baby. I think she was about 7 or 8 weeks at the time, so it was just a bit too soon for me. But I'm so lucky that we were able to do it virtually because obviously, that's a great opportunity. I'm grateful for.
Yeah, and have I frozen? Is anyone else frozen, or is it just me?
No, we can hear you.
And can I just say as well, like how inspirational that will be to other, new mums as well, because so many women will hold themselves back and be like, oh, I can't do this just yet. It's not the right time, or this or that. And the fact that you signed up to a mastermind in the first place and then, turned up virtually, still made it happen. It just goes to show, doesn't it, that, when is the right time, so to say.
Yeah.
Apologies if my signal dips out. I keep getting a little signal saying like my internet is quite bad. I'm over the caravan, and with the weather being so bad, it just keeps dipping into the internet. So sorry about that if it is a bit dippy. And I think today's conversation is going to end up going a lot around mum juggling, because I don't know about anyone else, but like we were just chatting in the background now before going live, and the mum struggles because it's half term for so many people. And I don't know if it's like the time of the month or something like witchy, but my children have been, I don't want to say the word, but they have been like feral.
So mine are savages anyway, so it's no new thing.
Savages.
Mine calls me a savage, so I don't know what that says about me. I think it's like role reversal in our house.
Yeah.
He's a sensible one, and I've gone feral.
Yes, I love that. You've had an awakening. I love it.
So before we go any further, can you both introduce yourselves and just tell us, we'll start with Laura, if you just tell everyone a little bit about you and what you do, and then Beck can do the same as well then.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm Laura. I'm a NLP master practitioner, which is neuro-linguistic programming. For anyone who doesn't know, can give it a little Google. I work with women who have confidence issues, belief issues, particularly those in professional roles with imposter syndrome. And we do that through kind of all different mechanisms. I've also, outside of work, I've got a 7-year-old son who is just the love of my life, absolutely brilliant. And yeah, this week's, as we were just saying before, is a kind of a juggling act, really, because it's half term. I'm from a separated household, so he spends part time with me and part time with his dad. So yeah, it can be a good juggle at times.
Yeah, definitely. Laura came in and did a session with my clients last week. I can't even remember what day it was now. Thursday was it? Oh, it was fantastic. Like literally, really, really was. I loved it. And all my clients loved it as well. It was really, really fab. Beck, do you want to introduce yourself and just tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Oh, definitely. So I am Rebecca Barr, aka the Female Career Coach. So I am a transformational mindset and business coach. I work with women who are super ambitious, but perhaps have a lot of commitments like I do, 5 kids, and don't want to work in the hustle and grind of it all. Like they want to scale, they want to make more money, they want to have more impact without absolutely selling their soul. So it's all about feminine energy principles. I'm an NLP NLP practitioner too. I use EFT, hypnotherapy with my clients as well. But basically, it's just about adopting that feminine energy. I'm very spiritual as well, so I do everything.
And anyone who knows me knows I've been getting a bit more into the spiritual side of things recently. So loving being on a mastermind full of ladies who are also very spiritual. This little one is like a right little pain in the bum today. Wouldn't have it any other way, but gosh, I was telling the girls before we came on that today of all days, my IBS, sorry to share the info, is really playing up at the moment. So I'm a bit like, anyway. And then we're sat in here and it stops raining. There was like a little break in the rain. So Arya says to me, Mum, can I go and play at the park for 5? Lee's not here because he's like taking his mum home. So he's like gone for the day, basically driving. And I say to her, go on then, because I could see the park from the caravan. I said, go and play in the park for 5 minutes. I said, under a couple of conditions. If it starts to rain, you come straight back. And I said, and don't ask me to push you in the swing because I'm not feeling it. I just really need to chill out today and be close to a toilet. And basically I got the baby as well with no pram. So I was like, I'm not carrying the baby around at this. So I said, don't go climbing into the baby swing because she can't get out of it either. She's too big for it, but she climbs into the baby swing and then we've got to go up and get her out. So then we end up pushing her. She's not dull. And what does she do? She climbs into the baby swing. Starts raining as well. So I'm out there now with a blanket over the baby, trying to put baby in one hand, pulling her out of the swing in the other. If anyone had seen me, they would have thought, oh my gosh, parent in there.
Oh, that's the thing though, isn't it? I find with my children, people always say 5 kids is a lot, but sometimes it's about establishing those boundaries with your kids, isn't it? As in, and people think I'm really mean when I say that, but I'm like, well, it's about a partnership and a team effort, isn't it? When you're a when
they listen.
When they listen.
Yeah, trying to balance everything in, get them to listen in the right. Because I don't know about you, through lockdown, I developed this completely different persona to get him to do homeschooling. So we went through a stage where he didn't listen to me as mum, but I figured out that he really respected his teachers and would always do as they say. So I developed this new persona, and we used to sit down and do lessons, and he'd refer to me as Miss Mummy.
Oh,
to do what he was told.
You've got an alter ego. I like that.
Well, I said to Arya, right, I've got my Hangout show. It said it's just half an hour. I said, so in that half an hour, you can just watch your phone in the bedroom. So she's got all her teddies surrounding her. She's laying there watching her phone, loving life. But you've got to touch wood, but they're good most of the time. This little one, as we were literally on the 5 minutes before I hit live, she starts taking a number 2. So I was like, oh, great. Imagine me changing her in the middle of this live.
At least you did it before.
Yeah, I would be very impressed with that multitasking, to be fair. It's amazing what you can do with one hand watching your children, isn't it? I could literally cook you dinner and sweep up and do a live and something else all at the same time now. I've got new skills I didn't even know I had.
Once you become a mum, you have to, though, right? Because you kind of, I don't know. I mean, I talk about this with my clients all the time. We end up kind of being all things to everybody. You've got to, you have to do all those things, cook and clean. I think the challenge sometimes is remembering who you are at the center of.
Well, this is it, actually. This is like feminine energy principles in the sense that we are so in tune to what everybody else needs, everybody else wants. We really lose that connection with ourselves and our own desires. But also it's understanding that we don't have to do all the things and giving ourselves permission to sort of, to not conform to these, to putting all that pressure on ourselves and these roles. I believe very much it's about standing for the and. So you can be a mum and you can have your own business, but you don't have to do it all. So, yeah.
And it's not punishing ourselves as well, isn't it? Because this is another thing we were talking about earlier, actually, is OCD and wanting your house perfectly clean and, that feeling of guilt if your home isn't tidy. And so you have to learn that balance of, if it makes you that ill, but it's making you ill, you're not keeping on top of it, but it also makes you that ill looking at it, invest in a cleaner.
Yes.
Take the load off a bit, you know, like things like that, isn't it? There's so many different things you can look at, but like, why do we feel guilt about that? Like I'm terrible OCD. And if my place is like messy, I feel cluttered, I feel awful. And I also feel guilt if I'm not like on top of everything. So like, why do we feel that to be a good mother, our houses have got to be perfect, the kids are going to be barking, be in bed by a certain time, and you know, why is it that we feel like, because it is, isn't it? There's quite a lot of pressure on mothers to like have it all together.
Well, I was just saying to you actually that a lot of the time it's, I mean, it's conditioning from society, obviously, and things that we watch on TV. A lot of it is completely outdated and offensive. So it blows my mind when my kids are watching some programs, particularly American, that are still very dated stereotypes about a woman and, you know, girls and boys cheerleaders and all of this sort of thing. But also other women, we put pressure on ourselves. You know, my mum absolutely used to tell me how to do this, that, and with the kids, because she was coming from that time where, you know, she was at home and she didn't have opportunities to make money like we do now. And I think it's about creating, and also I was saying like other women also, you know, love to put on a bit of judgment about whether if your house is tidy, if you're, you know, Instagrammable, if you're spending quality time with your kids, if you spent like a certain amount of money, like you can't please everybody. So it's about creating your own path, I think.
Yeah,
I think Sonia says awful, isn't it? I mean, as well, with celeb influencers who make it look easy, but in reality have an army of support. Yeah, so true. Yeah,
but people don't declare that, do they? And they also don't tell you what's going on behind the scenes. So, you know, people portray this perfect version of themselves, and the reality is that it doesn't exist. But we seem to strive for this perceived perfection that other people have, without ever really stopping to think, well, okay, what have they had to compromise on to have that particular thing that looks perfect? Or, you know, who else is helping them out with that? Rightly so. And I think generationally, we're in a very different space to one that's ever gone before, where we can
Thank
be
God.
Yeah, I know, right?
Thank God for that.
Independent. I mean, it blew my mind the other week. My partner came home from work, and my mum was like, he went in to make a cup of tea. My mum was like, dug me, and she was like, "You're not even going to go and make him a cup of tea. He's just come home from work." And I'm like, I just come home from work. I just come home from work. But for some reason in her head, it's like, you need to go and make him a cup of tea.
But he must have worked much harder than you, obviously.
Absolutely not. He can make me a cup of tea because I'm working 2 jobs right now. So, you know, but still, it's amazing how that perception exists. And I think Rebecca's right. Society conditions us from such a young age as well. You see it in toy shops, don't you? You have blue toys and pink toys. It makes my brain explode because, you know, all the you know, shopping trolleys and the ironing boards and stuff are all in pink and like down with the dolls. And then the boys have like, you know, cowboys and Indian stuff still. And, you know, I still think there's a real segregation from such a young age about what expectations we have.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's my frustration actually. Is obviously as a mum, I'm quite progressive, and obviously you'll understand this, Laura, as an NLP practitioner. I'm so mindful of the language, like the things that I'm using with the children, the beliefs that I could be asserting onto them. No pressure. But when they go to school and when they watch TV, there is nothing you can do about those outdated influences. You know, my daughter will still come out with about, you know, making money is hard. And, you know, when I'm older, I need to get a proper job, don't I? And I'm like, no, I'm like, absolutely, you do whatever lights you up. Like, I have to do so much work. And that's nothing that they've witnessed at home, because I am the like the poster child for non-conformity. You know, I did my time in corporate and I would never go back. And you can't unlearn once you have this spiritual awakening. So, yeah, that's the shame of it, though, isn't it? It's all those other things as well.
And this thing is as well, a lot of people just don't understand, do they? Unless you're like really entrepreneurial minded, people just don't kind of get it, do they? They don't get that, like, the amount of times. My brother actually said to me the other day, oh, I said something about work. And he was like, oh, are you still playing about with that fake job? And I'm like, what? Fake job? Like, but he winds me up. But it's like, he still doesn't get it. He still doesn't see it as you know, that fake job has allowed me to quit my professional job that I went to university and worked hard to like achieve. And it's like, I think like little things like that, along with like other people as well. And that step from quitting that job in the first place, like so many people were like, you worked so hard together. Like I failed my uni application. I applied 3 years in a row and just kept getting rejected. I did like night school. I done so many things, like adding, you know, extra bits from college, and then doing like a physics and maths GCSE on top of it, just to like get what I needed to get into university in the first place. It took me so long. It wasn't just like school, because I didn't do very well in school. So I did it afterwards. So like people see me for years, like trying so hard to get into university, longer than I was actually in university. And then when I was in university, you know, and then got that qualified job, and then started, you know, work my way up doing CT and things like that, I was then all of a sudden giving it up. And people who obviously care about me, they don't mean to sound, you know, negative, but the way they seen it was that I would work so hard for this, and I was giving it up to be a stay-at-home mum, because I think that's what a lot of people see me as a stay-at-home mum. People who are not in the entrepreneurial world. People who are in the entrepreneurial world see me as a totally different person to what people like family or anyone who's not entrepreneurial minded see me as. These totally different things, you know. And it's like some of the comments I've had as well a few times, like, well, wasn't the whole point of you quitting your job so that you could, you know, do this with the kids? Maybe say we've asked for like a babysitter, or we've asked like for some help at some point or something like that, and they're like, well, I thought the whole point was for you to be at home with the kids so you wouldn't need a babysitter. And I'm like, no, that wasn't the whole point.
But even
there's so much more to it, isn't it? But it's
even somebody that chooses to be a stay-at-home mum doesn't have to be wedded to their kids permanently. You know, we're not just one thing, are we? You know, we can still be mum to kids and still have an identity that's all our own. And I think we've got to nurture that. What's so interesting, Bethan, just listening to you talk then, you said about moving from your professional job to the job that you do now. So even in your language, like, no, what you're doing now is a professional job. You know, absolutely. You are a professional in what you're doing now. So it's just you've moved from one professional job to another
professional job.
Yeah, and it just goes to show like why community is so important, because when I like, we've obviously talked about your story, Bethan, and I have so much admiration on my podcast, actually, have so much admiration for your journey and how much like inner strength you must have had to have literally just, you know, completely gone against your family's cycles and, you know, all of that thing. It's really admirable. But for the people that don't necessarily have that, or, you know, aren't necessarily as motivated, they get easily derailed by the people that they're surrounded with, that are constantly, you know, not allowing them to grow and see what else is out there for them. They're just constantly like wanting to put them back in the box that they've created for that person. And that's why community is so important. And things like this, masterminds, academies, all of it is so important to help you really stay on track with your goal and see what is possible for people like you, stay at home mums just like you know, look at what success you've had.
It's funny because I was having a conversation earlier with one of my past academy clients, and you know, she was saying like, I need a bit of a kick up the bum, I need talking to, and this and that. And you know, one of the things we were chatting about came up was that she's sick and tired of people like thinking she's got the easy card, something to do with money, and they'd like. But people do, don't they? Like, and I said to her, I get this all the time. And I wrote a post, I'd done a long ranty post a couple of weeks about it in my group, where I was like, you know, you need to stop looking at other people and, you know, concerning yourself with what they are doing, or comparing yourself, because just, you know, so many people kind of look at others and just all they see is success, isn't it? All they see is like, oh, you know, they've got a freedom, they've got money, they're going on holidays. And the amount of times I've actually had people say to me, it's okay for you because you know, you've got a
I
caravan, you can just
find that quite useful though, Bethan. If people are jealous, like where it's, you know, traditionally perceived to be a negative, shameful emotion, if you get jealous of someone, like you don't want to tell anybody, and it's really like, oh, I'm such a bad person because I'm jealous of them. I turn that on its head and think, amazing, because that is your inner desire telling you what you want for yourself. So if you're triggered by somebody, if you're jealous by what somebody else has, then obviously, you know, amazing, put it on your vision board. That's obviously something that is then you.
Absolutely.
If they've done it, you can do it. So it's letting you know also what's possible for you. So don't shy away from these things. Obviously, if it's, you know, sending you on a downward spiral, then obviously that's, you know, indicates a limiting belief that you don't feel that you can have the same success. As Laura and I will know, whenever people are triggered by somebody else in that way, it's typically because they're mirroring something that they want, or they're, you know, there'll be something in there. There'll be more than just, you know, don't like that person. It's like, well, there's obviously something.
The challenge is that we don't teach that to people, though. We don't teach people, or kids even, as they grow up, when you experience these emotions, how to positively process them. And I mean, I love my son's school. I work with the teachers there now, and I teach them NLP techniques to use with the kids and how to process different emotions. And I'm about to do something with the head teachers of all the local schools, doing something similar. And I just think that's really exciting, because all of a sudden we're thinking about educating people so that when they grow up, they don't get to this point as an adult where it's like, oh, hang on a minute, I've got stuff to unpick and redo. And I think as moms as well, I think we have a responsibility to learn this stuff now. And this is what I say to all my clients, you know, think about how your children learn from you. What we emulate is what our children take from us, as well as everything else in society. Could you imagine if all the mums of our generation made the decision to be forward focused and to understand how their brain works and engage with all this mindfulness? You know, what difference that would make to our kids. So when they did experience jealousy, I can do something constructive with this rather than be hateful.
And it's taking that on board for yourself in a non-judgmental way. Like I'm quite fortunate in the sense that I've never been somebody that's, you know, struggled with my weight or anything like that. If anything, it's probably the other way. I've got such a nervous energy. I've always been like quite small. So it's not something that I've ever then projected onto my children. But I read something very powerful. It's like children don't listen. So as much as I can say to my children every day, you're loved, you're beautiful, you're amazing, if I'm not mirroring that in myself, and also then telling myself I'm amazing, I can do anything, I'm beautiful, and they're not watching me, you know, essentially practice what I preach, they don't listen, they watch. And it's having that sort of, you know, in that self-awareness as a mother. If you're constantly criticizing, oh, but you know, my hair, how I look, you know, oh, I can't do that because I'm a stay-at-home mom, I can't do this, how can you then empower your children to go out in the world with this sense of anything is possible?
Yeah, because we learn from what we see, we learn from what we experience. And, you know, I think this is why it's so important as mums, as the first stop really for us to do all of that. And I think, you know, we talk a lot in NLP when we work with clients around how things feel. So sort of, you know, what things look like and what things sound like, you know, and I think if we cover all bases when we talk to our children, you know, we do demonstrate it. That's the kind of kinesthetic bit. We show them physically what it's like for that we love ourselves and we put ourselves first. Because I think as well, Bethan, coming back to your point about guilt, sometimes when we haven't seen somebody else do it, it feels very selfish. It feels against the norm for us to do something that way. Whereas actually, if we've got a really good role model that we can look to who does do it that way, it's easier for us to say, no, actually, that's normal. That's normal. And, you know, I feel differently about not doing that. And I think that goes a long way to combat that guilt as well.
And it's just giving yourself permission, isn't it? Even and taking everything in a loving way, like even anxiety, as much as, you know, we hate to have those feelings, it's what you're applying to that feeling, isn't it? You know, excitement could be anxiety, it's just interpreted in a different way. But equally, it's coming from a loving place, that if you are feeling anxious, it's useful information and it's coming from a loving place. Like your brain wants to keep you safe. It's come with good intentions. It's just trying to keep you like a protective mama bear. You know, we'll just keep you as we know what's going on over here. We've done our risk assessment.
Yeah.
Fine, And when you can see it for what it is, like, thank you so much for wanting to let me say that it's okay. If I want to go live or I want to do this thing in my business, it's going to be absolutely fine. I'm ready to do it. Then that's the kind of messages we should be. Not that we're broken. We're not damaged. We're not broken. We're not
cutting out again on myself.
Somebody else who is more confident. It's just, we've got a supportive mama in there wanting to keep us safe.
True. And the thing is as well, like, this is one thing that I'd say to my clients all the time as well, or anyone really who, like, when it comes to things like that, like we can't control like what other people do and what other people say, and that's where you've got to come back to like within, isn't it? And you can only kind of focus on yourselves and what you're kind of putting out and how you're receiving things. So it's like you can either feel annoyed by people saying these things to you, or you can decide how you feel about that, and you can decide how you react to that. And you don't need to feel annoyed about it, because do you know what I mean? And this is something I think is really important, especially when it comes to like any kind of success in life, business, or anything. Because if you kind of allow things to bubble, to bother you, to like rile, like you need to find a way to overcome those things, or to like put them to the side or deal with them, because otherwise, like what's the purpose of that? Like, what is that? It's not serving you at all, isn't it?
It's understanding. It says more about the other person, doesn't it? I always like, when I see these people saying hateful things, like, I approach it with compassion. I'm like, oh my God, bless you. You need some inner child healing. There are some like traumas going on there that need resolving. Like, can you imagine living in that mindset? How sad that would be. Like, I absolutely laugh, because I'm just like, oh hell no, I'm so glad I'm not you right now. If that is your mindset and that's what you're choosing to spend your energy on, I'm over here living my best life with my children, grateful every day, and you've just got to do, like you said, it's what you do with that. And I think with it.
I seen a post the other day. It was like, I think she's an Australian coach I follow. Ingrid Anna, anyone heard of her? But she had done a post the other day where if someone had commented, I'm guessing on one of her ads or something, and said like, you look like a man in drag or something like that. And I thought, like straight away as well, my feelings of like my sad feelings went to the person writing it. One, because just knowing Ingrid, she's probably just wipe that off and be like, she would feel sadness for the person writing it as well. And it's just like, how it must be such a bad place, isn't it, to feel like you've got to write something like that to someone. Like, it can't be in a good
point of relevance as well. Like, some people need to be relevant in a situation, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with them. They didn't need to write that comment, but they wanted to be seen in some way, even if it's a negative way.
I think it's so important to surround yourself with like-minded people, though not necessarily just women. Actually, I won't just ring fence it to women, but like-minded people who feed you with that positive, loving energy. Because I've had my fair share of friends who effectively, as I refer to them as mood hoovers. They suck the joy out of you at every opportunity. And I've had, Bethan, I think I mentioned this the other night when I was talking to your group. I had like a load of abuse on social media once about the size of my nose, like somebody telling me like my nose is too big for Instagram, and I was like, that's so ridiculous. Like, my nose is perfect because I was born with it. So therefore, everything, I'm a great.
What's the equivalent of telling someone they smell when you're a kid? Like, you smell.
I know. I was like, well, clearly that's something more about them than me. But if I had no other point of reference to tell me otherwise, or to make me feel better about myself, I screenshotted it and sent it to my girlfriends, who all sent like, all this barrage of comments back, like, it's ridiculous, ignore it, blah, blah, blah. Lots of loving, supportive things, which I was kind of new in myself anyway. But having that reaffirmation from people around me that that's nonsense, and actually what I want is positivity. And I think for all of us, if we don't have that pool of people who are kind and strong and actually match our values, I think that's really important. We should all have those people.
And if you don't have them, you need to find them.
Yes.
But equally, I think a lot of the time things can't affect us unless there is some element of us that already has that niggle, and it could be something really like inner child, you know. So people could say, I don't know, something to me, but if it's like so ridiculous and so far-fetched from how I actually feel about myself, I'm just going to laugh, because I'll be like, what? Where has that come from? But if it's something that secretly, you know, I also have a little element of like mum guilt and stuff like that, then they're effectively pushing on a bruise, aren't they? So it's, but what I think as well as women is that we need to empower ourselves. If social media is something that triggers you and you know that you are a little bit sensitive and a little bit susceptible, it's okay, I'm going to outsource that, because I don't need to have my energy affected every day by other people's shit, essentially, because they haven't done their inner child healing. I've done mine over here, so I'm going to be empowered, and I don't need to be exposed to that. So I'm going to outsource it to somebody that can perhaps manage that process for me. Equally, you know, like we said with the cleaner, if you know your house triggers you, get a cleaner. It's all of these things, rather than just feeling that you need to, you know, sort of you know what's I don't even know if the expression makes any sense, but my ex-partner said to me, are you not just going to firm it, like as in you're not just going to like double down and boss it out and just deal with it? And I was like, no, I don't need to. I've got nothing to prove. What I'm going to do is eliminate those triggers and those things. It's not about how much we can bear as a woman. It's not about how much we can take on as a woman.
You don't have
how
to.
much more shit we can handle. It's about, I don't need to handle it. That is your shizzle. So I am going to eliminate all of these things that cause me that element of stress, that trigger my emotions, and I'm just not going to deal with it anymore because I don't need to. Maybe it's because I'm nearly 40. I'm just like, I don't have time for this anymore.
And as well, it's like the one thing I always say as well, if you ever spot yourself saying you can't, or but it's okay for you, it's like challenging yourself, isn't it? Like if you say to someone, you know, let's go back to the same example, get a cleaner because it triggers you that you can't, you know, keep on top of your cleaning, and then that person's coming back and saying, yeah, but I haven't got the money to get a cleaner. It's like, but that's not a solution. So it's like, and that's just like a first reaction, isn't it? But I can't. Yeah, but it's okay for you. Or, you know,
I need to read the latte. Is it the latte effect or the latte factor? There's a book that essentially says you're richer than you think. Everybody thinks, oh, I could never afford that, but you can. You just prioritize your money in other places. That's absolutely right.
You can still swap, isn't it? To be in like a
£10
problem
an hour. I spend that on coffee.
Exactly.
Skill swap as well. You know, I do this. I have somebody who does my bookkeeping, and I trade that for coaching. So instead, she has regular coaching with me, and I do that. When I first decided that, and I'm lucky because I'm in the position where I've got my parents around to be able to use them for this. But when I was in the first position where I felt overwhelmed and couldn't keep on top of my cleaning, I brought my mum and dad in to do it, and in return, I gave them access to my Netflix. So that I paid the subscription and they did it, and they got to watch it. And when I did my Nespresso order and got my Nespresso pods, I gave my dad half so that he had. So it was like I was still, I might not have given them money for it. They clean for me now, and I do pay them to do it now. But there's always something that you can
There's always
do.
a creative solution.
Right.
Always
Going
about
into it with
problem
a solution mindset. What actually will make a difference here? Not making another excuse, not putting the blame somewhere else, because that whole thing of it's all right for you, that's like the blame game, isn't it? Like, you know.
Definitely.
They're playing in a victim mindset, aren't they? That you can do it, but they can't. And they've essentially created this identity for themselves that they are a victim. They're not empowered to get a cleaner, even though it is only £10 an hour. Mine, it's probably cheaper in other parts of the world. You can't find £10 an hour, and that's going to bring you joy. Your joy is not worth £10 to you.
Yeah.
There's a whole load that needs to be unpacked there, if that's the case. But it's also knowing at any point you can change your life. You are empowered.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's no one else that they're kind of holding back. It's just themselves. So it's like, if anyone watching this is ever watching it and thinking, yeah, you're saying it's just £10 an hour, but when you haven't got £10 an hour, which, you know, I can imagine some people thinking like that, it's like, you know, you have to like switch that attitude around, and you have to start thinking, instead of thinking, yeah, but I haven't got £10 an hour, is okay, where can I get £10 an hour? Like, how can I make this happen? Like, what can I do? Like what Laura was saying, like the you know, swapping services and things like that. There's always ways around things, but if you're not even willing to like explore that and challenge that, it's never going to happen. And then the only person that's hurting is yourself. Like, it's not hurting anyone else, because all those other people who are looking for the solution will keep moving forward, will keep growing, will keep doing better, will keep being successful, while you sit there and kind of think, well, I can't. So it's like really, really important. And that does sound harsh, doesn't it? But it's really important that people can understand that. Because like sometimes that harsh,
it's coming from a place of love. And what I found for most of my clients, it is tough love sometimes that you need, but it's because they've been told for so many years that they can't, that it's not for them, that it's all right for that person, the rich are greedy, like da 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 da. And it's sometimes you need somebody to say, but actually you can. And you could find £10 an hour. I absolutely believe in you 100% that you have the skills, the creativity, the know-how to manifest, to create, to find £10. You can find that. I believe in you. I trust in you. I know you can do it. Sometimes I use that with my kids when they're like, I can't find my shoes. I'm like, I believe in you. You can find your shoes. I know you can. And they're like, I know they're saying that. Like, sometimes you need that, and sometimes with my clients I'm like, if it's the unpopular opinion,
we've frozen again,
here to give that to you, because I want to be the one that actually, you know, causes you to take that action and know how powerful you truly are.
100%.
Yeah,
I echo everything that you've just.
It is. And if that makes me a bitch, because sometimes it does. Like, people are like, oh, she's a bitch, it's all right for her. But obviously, Bethan, we know I'm a single mum with 5 kids. Like, I'm not in any way privileged. However, as Bethan said, I found a way. I've been on my arse many times over the years, but I never accepted that was where my story was going to end. I always found a way. And I know if I can do it, Jesus, I had nothing, like no family, no money, no supportive network. Like, I don't have anybody. I have to put my kids in a creche. But you always find a way. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. I promise you. You are amazing. You can do it.
Absolutely. Fabulous. So we're gonna call it a day and gonna say love you and leave you. Before we do, if you ladies could just go onto my personal feed and just pop your links on there for anyone who wants to come and find you, and then I can just copy them from there onto the other places that it's streamed. So yeah, if you can do that, then and anyone who wants to come and give you a follow and learn more of your epicness, because that's where you both are. You honestly, I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that I've met the both of you and that I'm part of a mastermind with you, pair, because just there's so much that you guys have like taught me already when it comes to like really just sort of tapping into your own intuition and letting things open up more. And yeah, I'm excited, very excited. So anyone who wants to go and follow them, we'll pop the links on. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Sonia. Anyway, I'm gonna say love you and leave you, and we will catch you all again next week. Bye.
Bye.